Should Michigan bring back baiting? I am not sure, but I want to give you guys the full breakdown of the current situation so you guys can make your own decision. Michigan banned baiting back in 2019 to prevent and stop the spread of CWD. Now, this stands for chronic wasting disease. It is caused by an infectious, misfolded proteins called prions. Now, it spreads from deer to deer through environmental contamination or direct contact. Now, the disease is not known to infect people, but authorities say to be cautious about it. Now, since the disease was detected in 2015, Michigan has, under DNR surveillance, tested 144,000 deer. Only 265 came back positive from 2015 to 2025. Now, 2024, sorry. We did add just over 100 cases of positive cases the past 2 seasons to those numbers, which brings up the total to 376 over the past 10 years. So we did have a slight increase the past 2 years. Now, on a different study, this is done at MSU. So if you have a deer that you are like, it was acting a little weird when I harvested it, or it has some weird kind of things going on, it may be sick, you want to get tested for CWD, you could send your deer there to get tested. Of the 3,400 submitted, 61 came back positive. So this is again out of deer that have appeared to look sick, or the hunter had another concern about the deer. Is 376 deer over 10 years enough to constitute a baiting ban? The DNR thinks so, or at least insurance companies want more deer dead. That may or may not completely be true. Or maybe it's not true, I don't know. Let's look at another state, Wisconsin, with arguably the highest concentration of CWD positive deer in the country. Not even arguably, it just does. Up to 50% of adult bucks test positive for CWD. Wow. So CWD was first detected in Wisconsin in 2002, and they immediately imposed baiting bans. So their baiting bans work in a specific way. So if there is a CWD positive deer in a specific area, that area now has to ban baiting for 3 years. So if one deer tests positive in County C, that county now has to ban baiting for 3 years. So it's basically a perpetual baiting ban because there are so many positive deer in Wisconsin. It just keeps resetting, right? You just have another 3 years, another 3 years, another 3 years of no baiting. So the whole state just pretty much has CWD. Even though Wisconsin has a baiting ban, CWD continues to spread across the state. We do have to take into consideration there are hunters, I'm not sure the number of course, but hunters do still bait despite baiting bans, as we see in Michigan. So we have to keep that in the back of our minds as we look at these statistics, because hunters are not 100% honest about what they are doing. So we can't take that everyone is not baiting. We have to say some people are probably still baiting, which contributes to the spread. Now, let's take that also in consideration in our own state of Michigan, because a lot of hunters still choose to bait, and CWD seems to not be spreading as rapidly. We can all accept that a lot of hunters in Michigan bait. Go outside, go on public land, you will find a corn pile. Go drive your car around a road, you'll probably see a feeder out in the field. So Michigan hasn't had the same number of cases as Wisconsin, but Wisconsin has had CWD for over 20 years. We're around 10. So is this next few years going to be a shift for Michigan? I don't know. CWD does not behave like a normal disease, and it spreads between direct contact, which is pretty normal, but environmental contamination, so like the soil, plants, and carcasses of deer can spread these prions. Now, prions can exist in the environment for years, which is way different than most diseases. So you can have an area that gives a deer CWD even though there was not any CWD in the area the past season, right? It's from the season before, and those prions can still infect the deer. Deer don't necessarily need a bait pile to get infected, but those prions can exist in the environment around the bait pile to infect them. If you look at it as no one is baiting, it shows that baiting is not necessarily spreading CWD. Because this is a very interesting concept. Let's run with this for a second. Because deer are very social creatures. And I think you guys will understand what I'm getting at on how baiting isn't the direct cause of the spread so rapidly, because I'm sure 100% of you guys, when you're out hunting, you see deer coming together, licking each other, smelling each other's butts, I don't know, and no bait's involved, right? No cornfield, no food plot. Deer are just in the woods and they're just together. They're all in each other, they're together. And you see bedding areas where there's 20 deer in a specific area, especially in the winter. They're all crowded up trying to stay warm. So is baiting necessarily causing the spread of CWD in a very macro way, where the CWD is like, this is why CWD is here, is because of baiting? I don't think so. I think it has a lot to do with just deer being social creatures. Whether you think a baiting ban works really well with slowing the spread of CWD or not, this is definitely something we need to take into consideration, because even without baiting deer spend a lot of time together. So we have to keep that in the back of our minds as we look through the statistics and the facts and just the logical ideas behind a baiting ban. Does baiting actually slow the spread of CWD? In theory, I think it works, because deer don't, they only come together in bait piles. But we know that's not true. So it doesn't really work in a practical sense if you really study deer. Which, again, goes back to DNR. Is DNR being run by hunters? I don't know. But let's continue on this thought. So are deer just like without baiting social distancing now, like we were during COVID, masking up and staying away from each other? No. Like, we have to accept some things. Like, baiting isn't keeping deer apart. Sure, it keeps them coming to a specific spot. But, you can have 30 deer in a food plot, which is completely legal. So, is a food plot? Should food plots be banned? I don't think so. I love my food plots. But it brings up the conversation, right? An apple tree. Apples fall from the tree. Are deer collecting an apple tree? Should we chop down apple trees to prevent the spread of CWD? I don't know. Maybe the DNR will come up with that. Insurance companies will be like, hey, cut down all the fruit trees so there's no, whatever. Whatever DNR insurance companies talk about. I don't know. I'm not involved with that. Then it brings up the question, are we getting rid of baiting for the right reasons? Right? Or should baiting be used as a management tool? I think this is a great idea. So use baiting as a management tool to seek out the sick deer. 50% of the deer in Wisconsin are tested positive for CWD. 50% of the bucks. 50% of them are not CWD positive. So I know CWD can sometimes, especially in the early stages, not appear like a sick deer. But if we can use baiting to pinpoint these 50% of bucks and harvest those bucks, get them out of the environment, and then have the 50% that are healthy, that could be a game-changing move, right? If we are able to correctly identify deer and implement the system, at least in targeted areas, this could be huge. So could we implement this in a micro area and be able to take out 50% of sick deer? So maybe this targeted hunting over bait piles could be effective. I'd love to see it in a micro area and then maybe spread it out to a county and see how that plays out if we're able to bring those numbers down in Wisconsin. I'm not sure. I'm just the idea guy, okay? Okay, you guys think about it. You let me know what you think in the comments. There's another question that comes up about, eating contaminated meat, and there's a lot of different viewpoints about that and a lot of different science that I am not well researched on, but that's a discussion for another time. So I pose everyone watching 3 different questions. Is baiting an effective way to stop the spread of CWD? Could baiting be used better as a management tool? Or is CWD not a big enough problem in Michigan to warrant a baiting ban? Bonus question. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this in the comments. Is the DNR just waiting to re-implement baiting, but with a license? So then you have to pay for it. Isn't that a great idea? I love it. No, I feel like I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But what if the insurance companies are telling the DNR, hey, over here, this is them, this is insurance companies, hey, we want you to tell everyone to harvest a whole lot more deer so that we don't have any problems. Sure, we'll also make some money off of it. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that, I mean, I could see that being true, or maybe not. I don't know. Leave it up to you guys. But as always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me if you went to our website and checked out some of our merch and watched some of our other videos. Check this out. Got the InstinctX hat, the logo. I also got the hoodie on. Got a ton of colors, got a ton of options, so go check it out. Thank you guys for watching, and good luck to everyone on their hunts. Just some food for thought for everyone to think about baiting and CWD. And I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.